Hello all and welcome back to Time to Dice Character Creation, where we make your favorite fictional characters in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Today we are making Rapunzel the princess from the Disney movie Tangled. Thanks to a magical flower that saved her mother, Rapunzel was born with magical hair that healed people when she sang. Unfortunately, she was stolen as a baby by evil Mother Gothel, who wanted to hoard Rapunzel's power for herself. Mother Gothel trapped Rapunzel in a secluded tower in the woods, where she raised Rapunzel on stories of how terrifying the outside world was. But eventually, Rapunzel's wanderlust got the better of her, and she snuck out of the tower to solve the mystery of the floating lights that appeared in the sky every year on her birthday. So beware of spoilers, and without further ado, let's get started. So, what do we need to bring Princess Sunshine to life? First, we need magical hair that heals people when we sing. Kind of a must-have, don't you think? Next, we need a winning personality that can turn just about anyone we meet into a loyal ally, ready to risk it all to help us chase our dreams. And finally, Tangled isn't just the title of our movie, it's our playstyle. In addition to our trusty frying pan, we need to make sure our hair isn't just for looks. It's a tool that we can use to our advantage in all situations. Rapunzel is a human, so we're sticking with human as our ancestry. That gives us 8 hit points, a medium size, and a boost to charisma and dexterity. Perfect for someone as charming and nimble as Rapunzel. We have a 25-foot movement speed in a single action, as usual. For our heritage, we are taking Skilled Human, which lets us become trained and later expert in a skill of our choice. Since all of Rapunzel's magic comes from a flower touched by the heavens, nature feels like the perfect pick. For our background, spending your entire life in the same building doesn't exactly give you a robust resume, so Hermit is an obvious choice. But hey, it's not all bad. This gives us occultism and forest lore, representing everything Rapunzel has learned just by gazing out of her window day after day. And for everything beyond that, we take dubious knowledge skill feat, capturing the mix of book smarts and Mother Gothel's half-truths about the outside world. We also get a boost to both our constitution score and charisma. I wouldn't exactly say Rapunzel has social skills, but her complete lack of social skills at least makes her likable in a little lost puppy sort of way. For our class, we face the classic Disney princess dilemma. Witch for a magical animal buddy, or bard for that signature musical magic? Well, good news. We're getting both. But we're starting with Witch, thanks to a specific feat line we'll cover later, plus access to divine spells. As a Witch, we get 6 hit points, meaning we're as fragile as the flower our powers come from. Our perception training is limited, which makes sense. Rapunzel might have memorized every stone in her tower, but stepping into the real world? That's overwhelming. For saving throws, will is our strongest, because let's face it, breaking free from the only life you've ever known takes some serious willpower. But in a straight-up fight, yeah, Rapunzel's not exactly a warrior. Our patron grants us training in religion, and for our additional skills we take athletics and acrobatics, because I can't decide which one best represents hyperactive Disney dance numbers, crafting for all the pottery, baking, and candlestick making, and performance, because, well, Disney princess. We're trained in all simple weapons and unarmed attacks, which means our frying pan is a perfectly balanced weapon. As for armor, none. But hey, we rock a dress better than any full plate. For our attributes, strength is at a +1. Rapunzel's not hitting the gym, but carrying all that hair around every day has to build some muscle, at least in the neck. Dexterity's at a +2, just enough to nail that hyperactive Disney character energy. Constitution's at a +1. Look, I hate to say it, but Mother Gothel might have a point about Rapunzel struggling to survive on her own. This build might have fewer hit points than anything else on this channel. I'm not checking, so feel free to watch every other video to see if that's true. Intelligence is at a +1. Rapunzel's read a ton of books, but she's never had a chance to apply any of them in the real world. Wisdom's at a +1. Again, all theory, no practical experience. And charisma's at a +3 because Disney princess. A witch's defining feature is their patron, which determines their magical tradition and grants them a variety of thematic abilities. For Rapunzel, we're choosing the Faith's Flamekeeper patron, giving us access to the divine spell list, the best in the game for healing. This also grants us Stroke the Heat focus cantrip, allowing us to spend an action to inspire an ally within 30 feet, giving them a bonus to all damage rolls as our words fill them with fervor. A witch's second most defining feature is their familiar, which not only gets more abilities than any other class's familiar, but also gains a unique ability based on our patron. In our case, Pascal will be the familiar of the restored spirit, meaning that whenever we cast or sustain a hex, like Stoke the Heat, Pascal grants an adjacent ally temporary hit points equal to 2 plus half our level. At level 1, we also get an Ancestry feat. Like most humans, we're taking Natural Ambition, swapping it for an extra class feat. Specifically, we're grabbing Witch's Armaments, which gives us living hair, letting us attack with our hair as an unarmed strike. It deals 1d4 bludgeoning damage and has an Agile, Disarm, Finesse, Trip, and Unarmed traits. Now onto the most important part of any spellcaster, spells. First up are cantrips. Stabilize stops an ally within 30 feet from dying. Inside Rope lets down our hair for our foes to use as a rope. Vitality Lash fills our hair with divine energy to drive off the undead. Rapunzel didn't technically do this in Tangled, but if Tangled 2 is set in a zombie apocalypse, we're covered. Light, because let your power shine, means our hair glows. Rousing Splash, for those moments we don't feel like singing and would rather wake an ally up by dumping water on their face. For our first rank spells, Heal, no explanation needed, we're here to heal our allies. Celestial Accord, because we need a broker of truce between Maximus and Flynn Rider long enough to see the floating lanterns. Elysian Whimsy, used to convince an entire tavern of bounty hunters to stop trying to turn in our escort, and instead burst into a song about their own fantastical, if somewhat implausible, dreams. At level 2, we are going to pick up the Bard dedication to add a bit of musical magic to our repertoire, specifically the Zoophonia Muse, so that we can fulfill our role as a Disney princess and have a bunch of animal allies. We also get 2 cantrips from the occult spell list, but we will cover those after we go over the impressive performance skill feat we take at this level, letting us use our performance skill to make an impression rather than a diplomacy check. If there's anything that Disney has taught me, is that there's no situation where breaking into a song won't make it better. Now for those aforementioned cantrips. We are going to pick up Infectious Enthusiasm, so that our upbeat personality rubs off on allies, filling them with the power to keep on keeping on. And Haunting Hymn. Well, it doesn't really fit anything we actually see Rapunzel do in the movie, but if you want to play a spellcaster, you probably want at least some way of providing magical damage to combat. At level 3, we pick up the Fleet feat, increasing our movement speed by 5 feet. I don't have a witty comment or a deep movie reference for this one, so moving on to second rank spells. Cleanse Affliction helps cure conditions that might be plaguing our allies. Sure Footing keeps our team steady and mobile when terrain gets tricky. Radiant Field lets us whip our hair around before making it glow so brightly it can blind enemies. At level 4, we're grabbing the Hymn of Healing focus spell. This spell doesn't just provide fast healing to a foe, but it also gives a small burst of healing when we cast it and each time we sustain it. Talk about keeping everyone on their feet. To cap off the level, we're taking Distracting Performance skill feat. This lets us create a distraction for an ally with a performance check, perfect for drawing attention to ourselves while Flynn makes his dramatic escape. At level 5, we're picking up the Clever Improviser Ancestry feat, which lets us add half our level to any skill check we're untrained in. Now we can rock papier-mâché, ballet, and even chess. Rapunzel's got hidden talents. We also gain Magical Fortitude, boosting our Fortitude save proficiency to Expert. Turns out, when you're blessed by a magical sunflower, sick days are a thing of the past. But the big news at level 5 is third rank spells. First up, Positive Attunement. We give an ally a strand of our hair, and as long as we keep singing, they keep healing. Next, we have Focusing Hum. Helps us stay focused on singing, reducing the chance we'll lose a spell to the stupefied condition. And lastly, Whirling Scarf. We spin and let our hair swirl around, concealing ourselves and potentially snagging an enemy's weapon, inflicting a penalty on their future attacks. At level 6, we really let our hair down with the Reach spell through the Advanced Muse's Whispers. This lets us add 30 feet to the range of any of our spells, because of course, Rapunzel's hair is long. It does cost an extra action, but it's worth it for the extended reach. We also pick up Fascinating Performance, allowing us to fascinate foes with a performance check. Nothing quite like captivating enemies with a song or a dance to keep them distracted while we take control of the situation. At level 7, we gain Expert Spellcasting, which increases our spellcasting DC to Expert, making our magical abilities even more potent. We also pick up Fast Recovery General feat, allowing us to recover from diseases and poisons in half the time. Turns out, when you're blessed by a magical sunflower, sick days are a thing of the past. Deja vu. Level 7 also brings us 4th rank spells. Cloak of Light means that we can light up our hair, shining a light in a 30-foot radius, while also healing any foes who stand adjacent to us. Life's Fresh Bloom we throw a spiral of our hair in a 20-foot burst, healing all allies within the area and giving them a plus 5-foot bonus to their speed. Vital Beacon, we do essentially the same thing, but centered around ourselves, providing a concentrated healing to those around us. At level 8, we gain the basic lesson feat, teaching us the lesson of life. This lets us learn the Life Boost Hex, which grants an ally fast healing as long as we sustain the spell. We also pick up the Powerful Leap skill feat, allowing us to swing our hair, adding an extra 5 feet to the distance of all of our leaps. Because why not make an entrance, or an escape, with a dramatic hair-assisted jump? Spending all your time alone in a tower may be mind-numbingly boring, but it does have its perks, like mastering all kinds of nifty skills. At level 9, we gain Incredible Improvisation, giving us a plus 4 bonus to any untrained skill check once per day. We also pick up Reflex Expertise, boosting our reflex proficiency to Expert, and of course 5th rank spells are on the horizon. Breath of Life, we can heal an ally on the brink of death, bringing them back with a burst of life-saving magic, and Healing Well, where we create a pile of our hair within 30 feet, allowing an ally to receive healing up to 5 times. Talk about a good use for all of that hair. At level 10, we learn the Lesson of Renewal, granting us the Restorative Moment. This allows us to heal more severe conditions like Drained or even Doomed, keeping our allies in fighting shape when things get dire. We also gain the Combat Climber skill feat, letting us use our hair as a grappling hook to climb buildings without being off guard, all the while keeping a hand free. At level 11, we gain Incredible Initiative General feat, boosting all of our initiative rolls by 2, ensuring that Rapunzel is always quick to act. We also pick up Perception Expertise and Weapon Expertise, increasing both our weapon proficiency and perception proficiency to Expert. Finally, we unlock 6th rank spells. Our first is Field of Life. We create a 20-foot burst that heals all creatures within it for 1d8 hit points each round for a full minute. And Scintillating Safeguard. This spell grants us resistance to any incoming damage. If we heal damage as we take it, that's the same as resistance, right? At level 12, we gain Quicken Casting, which lets us get a little excitable and rush through our song, shaving off an action from any spell we cast once per day. We also pick up Kip Up, allowing us to jump to our feet without wasting an action or provoking an attack of opportunity. At level 13, we gain Stubborn Persistence, allowing us to ignore anyone who tells us leaving the tower is a bad idea, and instead press on to the kingdom without succumbing to fatigue. We also pick up Defensive Robes, boosting our unarmored proficiency to Expert. And of course, 7th rank spells. Our first is Love Sacrifice. We can convince Flynn to take a dagger to the gut for the greater good, making the ultimate selfless sacrifice. And Regenerate. This spell lets us heal any ally over time, even allowing them to regrow limbs. At level 14, we gain the Melodious spell, allowing us to pass the casting off of a spell as just a song, making it even more fitting for Rapunzel's magical musical prowess. We also get Quick Jump, allowing us to perform a high jump or a long jump as a single action. Because when you're as agile as Rapunzel, even jumping into action should be quick and graceful. At level 15, we gain the Toughness General feat, which gives us additional hit points equal to our level and reduces all recovery checks to avoid death, making Rapunzel even more resilient. We also become a Master Spellcaster, increasing our spellcasting proficiency to Master, solidifying our magical prowess. Finally, we obtain Moment of Renewal, a powerful 8th rank spell that lets us restore 24 hours worth of recovery to 6 seconds, benefiting us and 5 allies, making us the ultimate healer when things get grim. At level 16, we get Skillful Tresses, allowing us to use our luscious locks to pull levers and open doors, making our hair not just a weapon, but a versatile tool. We also gain Tumbling Teamwork, which doubles down on our tendency to hog the spotlight. This feat lets us draw a foe's attention to ourselves by tumbling through their space, allowing allies to move freely while we steal the show. At level 17, we get Canny Acumen through the Ancestry feat Advanced General Training. This increases our reflex proficiency to Master. We also gain Will of the Pupil, which increases our will saves to Master and treats all successful will saves as critical successes, because Rapunzel's determination to break free from her tower is unmatched. And for our 9th rank spell, honestly, nothing here seems to fit Rapunzel's magic perfectly. But that's a great opportunity to heighten lower level spells to become even more efficient, letting us tailor our spellcasting to best suit any situation. At level 18, we gain the Deadly Hair feat, increasing our damage of our hair attacks to 1d6 and granting them the grapple trait, allowing us to tie someone to a chair with just a flick of our hair. We also get Shameless Request, which lets us ask Flynn Rider to go back into the kingdom that's actively hunting him down to look at some pretty lights. But to be fair, we're not really asking. At level 19, we gain Feather Step, allowing us to step into and out of difficult terrain with ease, as if our hair's graceful swish could glide us through anything. We also get Legendary Spellcaster, boosting our spellcasting proficiencies to Legendary, making us a master at magical feats. And finally, Patron's Gift grants us access to the 10th rank spell, Revival, letting us bring our allies back to life with the power of our tears. Finally, at level 20, we gain Hexmaster, allowing us to use more than one of our healing hexes in a single round. We also get Legendary Negotiation, enabling us to talk down enemies and find common ground, just like Rapunzel does in the movie. She has a unique ability to make allies out of the most unlikely enemies. Whether it's Flynn Rider, Maximus, or Mother Gothel, well, maybe not her. Now that we've reached level 20, let's take a second to cover this build's pros and cons. Well, for starters, we are the support queen of a wide array of healing and supportive spells, making her an excellent support character. From hexes to divine spells, we can keep our allies alive and in fighting shape. Next, thanks to feats like Legendary Negotiation, mixed with spells like Celestial Accords, Rapunzel is a social powerhouse. She can turn enemies into allies and broker peace. And finally, we are light on our feet with a selection of mobility feats like Fleet and Powerful Leap to significantly enhance our ability to traverse difficult terrain and get into position. For our cons, we are as fragile as a flower. With low hit points and a weak fortitude save, Rapunzel isn't built to take much damage, so we'll need to rely on others to tank it in most situations. Also, while we shine at versatility and support, our offenses leave much to be desired. Though our hair attacks are useful for tripping and disarming, our actual damage capabilities are more limited compared to the dedicated damage dealers. And finally, we are a prepared spellcaster with a very narrow focus, meaning it is very easy for us to come into a situation where none of our spells are applicable. And that's a wrap on our Rapunzel build. With a combination of powerful healing, social skills, and some truly iconic hair-based combat abilities, she's ready to shine. Whether she's lighting up the battlefield with her radiant spells or charming her way through every encounter, while she might not be the toughest in a brawl, Rapunzel excels where it counts, supporting her allies, healing wounds, and creating unforgettable moments. If you've enjoyed this build, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more character creation guides. And as always, feel free to drop any thoughts or suggestions for future builds down below. Until next time, keep rolling high, and I'll catch you in the next one.